Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and tonight was AEW Dynamite. Now, as far as the show does go, I thought it was a really good show. One of the better shows they've done in a while. One of my, excuse me, one of the more liked shows in my opinion. Like one of the shows that I've liked a lot more that they've done in recent weeks. And so, yeah, I thought the show was very effective. Now, I will say, I was confused by some of the booking early in the show. But other than that, the show itself was very effective. It built up towards the pay-per-view. It told us things coming in the next week or so. So productive, very productive show, and a really good, easy show to watch. Like I said this week on Raw that it flew by. This show also flew by. Such an easy show to watch. It progressed really well. Everything made sense. Well, not everything made sense, but everything as far as like where it was placed and positioned and how things happened made sense-ish. Like I loved that. Toni Storm's match ends, and boom, here comes Deonna. And so with Toni Storm attacking afterwards, it's like, it wasn't like Toni was in the first hour, Deonna was close to the end, and Toni, whatever was already done from her match and calmed it down, wind down, whatever. No, she was still up from her match and decided, you know what? I'm not even going to try to calm myself down after my match, not even like get out of my mindset. I'm just going to go for it. And so I thought that was really good in the positioning and pacing of all of that. One thing that I thought was interesting, though, with Toni Storm, they said Toni Storm's going to be in action, and she faced a local girl, just a random Oklahoma local competitor, whatever you want to call it, local wrestler. And so I'm like, okay, it's not a signed person. It's nobody we probably know. Just say Toni Storm in action. But why didn't they tell us that Deonna was facing Madison Rayne? They just said Deonna Purrazzo in action during the build-up for this show on social media and stuff. Why couldn't they have told us it's Deonna versus Madison Rayne? Especially if there's a backstory there, like they said. They said that Deonna sees Madison almost like a mentor. So why didn't they tell us that on social media? Why didn't they say, this week on AEW Dynamite, Deonna Purrazzo will be facing Madison Rayne, and, that you have a history, this and that, blah, 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 to get people even more interested, instead of just like, oh, 4 things announced for the show, 2 that we don't even actually know what they are, and then 2 other matches. Like, going into this show, it did not feel like it was going to be a good show. It's like, well, there's a reason they're not announcing stuff. There's a reason they're keeping a lot of this secret. And they really shouldn't have. They really should have told us more of what we got on the show. Now, granted, it did feel more like a WWE show than a normal AEW show. More heavy talking segments and more storyline stuff that we normally get from a Dynamite. So that's another thing. Maybe that's why I liked it more. Maybe that's why so many people on social media are praising it more, because it felt more like a WWE show than a normal AEW show. Just saying. More talking and storyline build than just match like we're used to with AEW. So that's something to think about. That is something to think about. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Donate a Twitch bit to make sure your comment, question, or concern does get read live on the air. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I greatly appreciate it if you did right here. Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we go live, post new videos, and when we post to our community tab. Also, remember to hit that join button to become a channel member to support the channel. And if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air during any of our live shows, donate a super chat in the live chat. Finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game like Skull and Bones, whether you're getting an old game like the Lamplighters League, or you're claiming the free game, which right now for the rest of today only is Dakar Desert Rally. Tomorrow we're getting Super Meat Boy Forever. Woo, great game. Super Meat Boy Forever. Whether you're claiming or getting any of those, use this code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Heck, Lady Gaga's coming to Fortnite. You want to get Lady Gaga on Fortnite? Well, you're going to have to buy her from the shop, and when you buy her from the shop, make sure you got this code put in on your shop as your creator code, PWU NLIMITED, for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. But with that, as far as the show does go, show kicked off with a match. Show kicked off with a tag team match. They call it a grudge match. That only goes back a week, so it's like a week and a half-ish. I don't know about grudge match, but whatever. AEW throws a lot of labels around when even they're not necessarily fitting what their label. I don't know. They put labels on things that don't need labels. Like, what the hell is what is that? Hold on. Wardlow's competing in a Meat Madness. What the hell is that? We'll talk about that when we get to it. Give me 1 second. Oh, wow. So AEW, someone just sent me this on Twitter. AEW will be running a collision head-to-head with night 1 of WrestleMania. I mean, I get it. The only times they don't run a collision is when, what's the word I'm looking for? They get preempted by TNT for like the NBA or something, like they did last week. But it's like, I don't know about that. They're running in the DCU Center in Worcester, Mass. How big is that arena? DCU Center. They're going to get killed because everyone's going to be home watching WrestleMania. It's a 14,000 seat building, so they'll probably set it up for 4 because they've got the 20,000 seat TD Gardens for Mercedes and only setting it up for 68. I would assume. And then here's why AEW does that. AEW gets these big buildings. Like, they're going to TD Garden. WWE last time they went to TD Garden did like 10,000. AEW is going to go to TD Garden, set it up for 68, and then they're going to sell all 6,800 of those tickets and say, oh, it was a sellout for Mercedes. Not really. Not really. Because there's still more tickets you could have sold. You could have put on sale. Anyways, yeah, they're going to run a show head-to-head with night 1 of WrestleMania, and they're going to be in Worcester, Mass. Ugh. Ugh. That's going to be a tough one for them. And the night before, Tony Khan's going to be in Philly because they announced tonight that Supercard of Honor will be taking place in Philly the night before on that Friday. So going head-to-head with SmackDown. That's a Ring of Honor tradition. You run the Friday before WrestleMania in the WrestleMania city. That's just a Ring of Honor tradition that Tony Khan is upkeeping. That he almost didn't, but the word is that he got talked into doing it since he bought the company. Like, keep doing it. He did it the last 2 years, and now he's doing it this year. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Running a goddamn show head-to-head with WrestleMania? Ugh, I'd just take the weekend off if I was Tony Khan and AEW. Like, it's not like it's a big show as far as like a go home for a pay-per-view or something. They couldn't just say no collision this week. I get it. They don't want to concede to the WWE and they're just going to take what they take. And the ratings not going to matter. The ticket sales are not going to matter. Everyone's going to be home watching WrestleMania on Peacock for $5 to $10 instead of going and spending 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 plus to go to a collision. Now, the poster itself on this collision poster does have the Bucks, Swerve, Tony Storm, Danielson, Darby, Julia Hart, who's technically out with an injury, and Adam Copeland. So we'll see if all of them even show up. Because when's the last time the Bucks worked a collision? That's my question. When's the last time Nicholas and Matthew Jackson worked a collision? They've only worked a collision like once or twice. Anyways, back to Dynamite. Actually, let me respond to this message really fast. Because the person that messaged it to me is kind of wrong. This person says, isn't Tony Khan a hypocrite for running a Collision on the same night as WrestleMania? He said he will never run WrestleMania weekend. And that's not fully accurate. Tony Khan said, I will never do the WrestleMania weekend thing, which means go to the WrestleMania city and run an AEW show there to piggyback off of all the people that are there for WrestleMania. Tony said he would never do that. He would never run an AEW show over WrestleMania weekend in the WrestleMania host city or encompassing cities. This, being in Worcester, Mass, is not that. This is running in your normal scheduled time slot. Yes, it's WrestleMania weekend, but it's not in the WrestleMania city. Now, if he was doing this in Philly, that'd be a different story, but they're not going to be in Philly. I'm responding to this message. No, he said he will not run in the WrestleMania city to piggyback off WWE. This is just running their normal Saturday show. So not hypocritical. What's a word I mess up? Hypocritical. There we go. As far as the show does go, it opened up with the BCC, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, taking on FTR. Now, the match itself goes to a 20-minute time limit draw, and it's just weird. Why does this match need to go to a draw? The last draw we got made sense. It ended up turning what would have been a singles match for the world title into a triple threat for the world title. So that going to a draw made a lot of sense. This going to a draw, why? Why did this need to be a draw? Also, we've always heard Tony Khan doesn't like to do too many draws. Well, didn't we just get a draw like 3 weeks ago with the Swerve Hangman match that I just referenced? So this match going to a draw made no sense to me. I get it. It's just so they can say, oh, well, nobody won. We got to do another one at the pay-per-view. Well, who won last week between Mox and Dax? John Moxley, Dax Harwood. Who won that match? Also, I tweeted earlier the cage match was down. It's back up now. So Moxley won last week in the singles match. So FTR should have won tonight. They should have won tonight. And then get beat up after. Like, they still could have done the brawl after. Like, they could have done the thing where they barely get the win over the BCC, where it's 1, 2, 3, and as soon as the ref's hand hits, then the wrestler kicks out, whether that's Moxley or Claudio. They kick out and jump right up. And then they all start brawling. They could have done that. And then that leads to, hey, you know what? You may have got us. I beat you in the singles match. Do tornado tag. Or, well, they can't do tornado tag because there's already one on the show. So I don't know what this match is going to be. But I get why they booked it as a time limit draw to get to another one for the pay-per-view. But if that was the case and you wanted to do this at the pay-per-view, then we didn't need the match tonight. We didn't need the match tonight just to get another one at the pay-per-view, even though we didn't get a winner. So that's just my rationale on it. If their plan was to always do the BCC versus FTR pay-per-view, then why didn't they set this up 2 weeks down the line or next week or something instead of doing the tag match tonight with the stupid time limit draw? It's just to do another one? Why do we need to see another one? We already saw this one. Granted, we didn't see a winner, but it's like, how much difference the match going to be? They're going to add a stipulation now? No time limit? Oh, okay. And then what? It's going to go 21 minutes? 22 minutes? If they had no time limit, that match has got to go 30. The match is, and I don't want to see it go 30 on a pay-per-view that Tony Khan's going to book 12 matches on. But there's got to be a thing where if this match does happen at the pay-per-view and they say no time limit this time, it can't go under 20. And it can't just go like 21, 22. It's almost got to go 30. It's got to go longer. Way longer. So we'll see how it goes. Good match tonight. So if they do it again, it'd probably be another good match. But I don't want to see it again. Because there's no reason to see it again. As far as the match tonight does go, though. There were quick tags by both teams early on, just trading back and forth. Moxley and Wheeler started some quick offense. Wheeler was wasn't backing down when Claudio did the uppercut exchange. After suffering a double team move, Moxley regrouped outside and came in trading brutal headbutts with Cash Wheeler. Harwood flew off the top for a double crossbody as Claudio Castagnoli and Moxley opted to take the fight to the floor. Harwood took the bullet, shoving Wheeler out of the way from a Moxley tope. Wheeler then retaliated, sending Moxley into the steps, and then we go back inside the ring where Moxley again was double teamed in the corner as FTR healed it up with the assisted abdominal stretch spot, getting caught immediately by the referee. After eating a double slingshot, I wrote this weird. Double slingshot. Oh, through my thing. I think I spelled it wrong at first, and then it tried to. Okay. Autocorrect really messed up here. After eating a double slingshot through the first and middle rope, Moxley exploded out of the corner with a lariat. Claudio then ran wild briefly and delivered some double back suplexes. Harwood went after Moxley on the floor, but ultimately suffered a stiff stuff pile driver with Claudio leaping off the apron, and we go to a picture break. I don't think I saw this break. There were some that I saw, some that I didn't. TNT app's weird like that. But yeah, no, this one went straight to commercial. Harwood was controlled during the break, they said. And as we came back, Wheeler spun out of a paradigm shift into a brainbuster for a 2, and we're given the 5-minute call from Justin Roberts. Castagnoli saved his partner from a shatter machine, but Moxley missed a blind tag from Harwood and was dropped with an assisted powerbomb for a 2. FTR wanted to go for the powerplex, but Claudio popped up with an uppercut on a Wheeler out of the corner. Harwood avoided the Doomsday device, posted Castagnoli, and hit his part of the powerplex, but Moxley got his knees up on the diving Wheeler. Castagnoli then immediately did the giant swing on Harwood, with Moxley doing the Tyson Kidd special drop kick in mid-revolution. There's some anvil elbows from Moxley, who switched it up to a bulldog choke as Claudio locked in a choke on Wheeler. We then get the 2-minute call, 2 minutes remaining. Harwood and Moxley slugged it out before Harwood got the sharpshooter locked in. Castagnoli then followed suit by applying one to Wheeler, as Castagnoli and Harwood had a little slap battle with both submissions applied. They both let go as Harwood planted Castagnoli with a pile driver, but Moxley nearly stole a pin off of a crucifix for a 2. Moxley then was sent off the ropes and was about to suffer the shatter machine when the bell sounded and the time had expired. And this was a little weird because Moxley's coming off the ropes. Dax grabs him for the shatter machine. And then weirdly, Cash just takes a bump. And Dax has still got Mox up here on his shoulder. And then he walks around for a second, and then we hear Justin Roberts say that it went to a time limit draw. And I'm just like, that was weird. They could have still at least hit the shatter machine. Why did Dax hold Mox up here? It's not like, yeah, it was weird. Weird. They then say that the time limit draw, and then both teams just start brawling. Officials, wrestlers, security, everyone comes to try and break it up. And yeah. I don't know why it needed to be a time limit draw. Again, if this is leading to a match at the pay-per-view, then you could have set this up next week. Could have done the stuff on Collision this week. Could have done the Dax Mox match next week. Had the big brawl with the two teams, and then be like, oh, these teams are going to fight at the pay-per-view. Then that would have made more sense. We don't need another one. I don't want to see another one. I want something different now. Again, like I said, it makes sense to a degree to do another one. After you already went 20 minutes, what are we really going to get different? What are we going to get that we didn't see tonight? That's the thing. They all did all their big stuff. They all did their normal spots. They all did what we're going to, think they would do in the match at the pay-per-view, unless that match becomes a hardcore match or something. And I don't want it to be, because I have a feeling that the Sting, Darby, Young Bucks match is going to be a hardcore match. That's right, Texas Tornado. We don't need two similar style tag matches on the same show. So they then tell us after the break. Well, actually, no. First off, they go to Orange Cassidy with Renee Paquette in the back and the doctor. This was weird. So Renee talks about how all the best friends are not cleared to compete. Hell, they're not even cleared to be here. Not even Trent. But somehow, after having match after match after match after match after match, Orange is still cleared. She said, Orange. Renee, that is. She said, Orange. So, everybody else not cleared to compete. Are you cleared to compete? And he goes, well, got to ask Doc over here. And then it zooms out to show us Doc Samson's actually there. And he's like, I will say, fortunate or unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Orange Cassidy did meet the minimum requirements to be cleared to compete. So if he wants to wrestle, he can wrestle. Renee's like, oh, that's insane. But if the doctor says he can go, he can go. Cassidy's like, yeah, I'm cleared. Minimally cleared, but I'm cleared. And I'm like, okay, but Trent's not. What happened to Trent that was worse than you, buddy? Like, what? That made no sense. And then they're like, well, we'll see you later on when you take on Mike Bennett. And I'm just sitting here going, what happened to Trent last week when he came out during the Texas Death Match that was worse than Orange took? Like, what? Huh? It made no sense. Told you, this first 45 minutes or so of the show, I was confused by a lot of things. And it didn't even stop here. So, the announcers didn't tell us, oh, Orange Cassidy has to wrestle tonight. He will wrestle Mike Bennett. And I'm like, has to? So he's being forced to? Yeah, when's the last time we saw Roddy have a match? Granted, he's going to work this week on Rampage, but which we'll get to it when we get to it. Another bad trope AEW does that I don't like. But hold on. When's the last time Roddy had a match? So he worked on Rampage. I mean, he's been working here and there. More than I thought. But he ain't working multiple matches a week like Orange Cassidy. The way commentary made it sound is that Orange Cassidy's being forced to do 3 matches a week. Forced to go work on Rev Pro. Forced to do this, forced to do that. And Roderick Strong just works whenever he feels like it. Then they tell us after the break, we will hear from FTR. They also showed us footage of Orange Cassidy working a 7-way of what? A 7-way at Rev Pro unannounced this past weekend. What? With the International Championship on the line. Huh? Like, I know the match took place. I know that whole show. I've seen it. Great show. Well, I didn't watch the whole show. I watched the Will Ospreay Michael Oku match that was phenomenal. But I know everything else took place on the show for the most part. And so it was just like, give me 1 second. I'm getting a message here that I need to look into. 1 second. Let me see something really, really quickly. Yeah, no. Someone tried telling me Mox or BCC versus FTR did get announced for the pay-per-view. I don't see it anywhere officially announced for the pay-per-view. Yeah, no, I don't see that. Someone messaged me and said, hey, it got announced for pay-per-view. I don't see it. Anyways, so we go to the back, and Alex Marvez is like, Alex Marvez here. I'm with Dax Carwood, Cash Wheeler of FTR. You know, guys, 10 more seconds, and you would have had the BCC. You would have beat him. And Harwood's like, hey, we're going to lay out a challenge for Revolution. BCC, Claudio and Moxley want to fight us. And all of a sudden you hear, hey, you mother... It's Moxley and Claudio coming to fight him. They're being held back. And basically, they set it up for the pay-per-view. Yeah. But it's like, why? Why do we need to see this again? It's probably going to be the same match. Again, they did all their things. They did all their normal stuff. Everything we would expect in a BCC versus FTR match. FTR hit all their spots. BCC hit all their spots. So what are we going to get here? Just a match that goes, 5-10 minutes longer? Again, this match can't go shorter at the pay-per-view. It can't. But I also don't want to see a 30-minute match on a pay-per-view because Tony likes to book 12 matches. And so it's like, if this match goes that long, it'll be a long night. Gonna be a long night. Speaking of Orange Cassidy, he did take on Mike Bennett tonight in an okay match. Match itself wasn't all that great. And the post-match was super confusing. Like, what? This makes no sense. Commentary talked about how the Undisputed Kingdom laid out Chuck Taylor and Rocky Romero, while Trent Beretta wasn't cleared after the end of last week's main event. This has led Cassidy to be all alone. The numbers are going to get to him, they said. Cassidy charged up the ramp, and Mike Bennett ducked a shot, and so instead, he gave an orange punch to Matt Taven. The match then officially began in the ring, with Bennett quickly taking over the offense. Cassidy hit a stun dog millionaire and a spinning DDT. Roderick Strong hit the ring and distracted the referee long enough for Bennett to punch Cassidy low blow, or as Taz likes to say, in the yam bags, and then he hit a pile driver for a 2. So Bennett controlled the entire commercial break and took a headset from commentary to run down Cassidy. This was right before the break. He took the headset. And then all this did was allow Cassidy to recover. And then he hit multiple dives. And I was just like, what? Huh? Anyways, Bennett responded with a spine buster on the apron and a Death Valley driver on the floor. Back inside, Bennett took too long to follow up as Cassidy exploded out of a desperation orange punch. Bennett fought off a beach break and hit a Gotch-style pile driver for a close near fall. There's multiple roaring elbow drops from Cassidy, who connected with a third pile driver attempt into a beach break out of nowhere and just picked up the win. Like, the match just ends. Like, it was just all of a sudden, he won. What? Huh? The bell rings, and the Kingdom come down. The Undisputed Kingdom run down. They're beating up Orange Cassidy with none other than Oklahoma's own. Remember, they were in Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight. But none other than Oklahoma's own Jake Hager would run out to make the save. Crowd popped, and yeah, he makes the save looking overly tanned, looking orange with orange. He raises Orange Cassidy's hand, and I go, how's this supposed to make any sense? We've never seen Jake Hager and Orange Cassidy friends, yet we've also never seen any dissension between Jake Hager and the Undisputed Kingdom. So why does Jake Hager feel and think that he needs to get involved here? And before Roddy could even jump out of the ring, well, I take that back. As he's jumping out of the ring and walking up the ramp, they let us know on commentary with a graphic on the screen. Oh, because of all of this coming Friday on Rampage, Roderick Strong will be taking on Jake Hager. And I'm like, what? Huh? Okay, but you're not even gonna give it time to marinate? If this is supposed to be real, how do we got a graphic already? We're supposed to think that got made because of this interaction here. Not that was already set up previously, then they didn't tell us about it, and that's why Jake Hager came out. No, they said because of this here, this Friday on Rampage, Roderick Strong will take on Jake Hager. So again, if we're supposed to think this is real, A, Tony making matches really fast, but B, there's a graphic. That graphic ain't made that fast. No siree, Bob. No, it's not. Because you got to change your wrestlers, change your text, render it out with an alpha channel. That takes a couple minutes. So, yeah. If they want us to think this stuff's real, then do some realism by announcing it later. Announcing it after the break or something. So, that's a trope I have with AEW. They do that way too often, where something will happen and immediately they announce a match based off of that, and they got a graphic and everything, and we go, oh yeah, that's right, this is super scripted out. But they want us to think it's real, but then they do stuff like this, where we go, oh yeah, no, it ain't real. We know that. We go to backstage with the Rain Paquette. She's in the parking lot with Angelo Parker. Asked him about his date tonight with Ruby Soho. Parker said he's so excited. And when Solo walks up wearing a dress, he's just like, ooh, you're looking good. And yeah, okay. And basically Renee's like, all right, well, I'm going to leave you two to it then. And Ruby's over here going, stop it. Like, she's all flustered. And then this car pulls up, and she's like, oh, is that for us? He goes, oh, no, I got some lift. It's coming here in a minute. So they walk off, go up onto the SUV, and then they awkwardly shoot this at first. I don't know if Rick just took too long to get out, but what they like come up on the SUV, then they come to the back of the SUV, then they kind of move in a little bit, then they see the door, and then they just go, the camera just down, because you only want to see his shoes for some reason when he walks out. Why? It's not a tease, stupid asses. So, like, this is bad camera work here, bad directing. And so, camera goes down, see the shoe come out. You got the Argyle shoes or whatever. And you go, oh, who could that be? And then immediately it just goes, Flint. Oh, it's Ric Flair. Why'd you need to do the tease with the foot? Why do we need to see the foot first if we're going to get the whole person? Like, really? Now, if they shot it in a way to where it was one swooping motion straight down and then up, would have been different. But in a way they shot it, just the way they shot it, we didn't need the, like, it wasn't smooth, it wasn't clean. I would have gone, granted, they probably did this. Well, no. There's a good chance this was a pre-tape. And I would have been like, hey, do this again. That was bad. No. If I was the editor or the director, I would have been like, do this again. And I've done that. I've been given footage that I thought was really bad. And I said, hey, anyway, you could reshoot this because I'm not using it. It's that bad. Trust me. I've done it in work that I've had to edit and stuff. So, yeah. The camera movements were too stiff and jarring. It should have, like I said, it should have either been you go to the back of the car, then you go up to the door swings open, you see Rick walk out. You didn't need to do the whole, you see the door, and then you all of a sudden go, oh, the door's about to open. Look down, and then look straight back up. No, it was weird. Now you can do the one shot that WWE likes to do, where you're on the other side of the door. You don't see the person's face because the door is blocking them. You only see the leg come out. It's still the wide shot, though, and then they step out and they're there. You're not moving and widen, zooming in and out. No, it's still one continual shot with no movement. WWE does it better. They shoot on the other side of the door, then you see them get out and get out. It's not like, oh, we have to show the foot first and then go up to the face. No. And I know I'm getting in the weeds here. I'm getting too technical. It's what I do. So we go to a break. When we come back, Renee Paquette's with Ric Flair, and he's talking all like soft, and I almost can't hear him at first. So I crank up my speaker and rewind it a little bit because godly, like gratefully, the TNT website, TBS website, I mean, lets you rewind to an extent, but it lets you rewind. So Flair said that he doesn't care who likes it, but he felt upset that he's not a bigger part of everything going on. Flair isn't upset at Sting, but disappointed he hasn't been around for 3 or 4 weeks. He then said, so I'm going to explore my options. What? He then knocks on a door. The Buck's open. And he's like, hey, can I talk with you guys? And the camera just sits there and the door closes. And then, again, stupid shot. They got to go, down at the doorknob. Why do we got to zoom down at the doorknob for? Come on. What are we doing here? Just let the door shut and you just hold the shot there for a second. Just for a second or two. We don't need the whole. And again, that's another thing. None of these shots are smooth. They're all just like quick shot, like instead of just you gotta ease it. Like, I don't know. Why do we need to see the doorknob? Why? Why'd they have to focus the doorknob? We have no clue what this means. Is Rick gonna turn on Sting and be in the Young Bucks corner at the pay-per-view now? Does he feel he's like, I'm not upset with Sting, but I gotta weigh my options? What does that even mean? So Tony Schiavone's in the ring. He's like, I want to bring out one of our young rising stars that could be the future of this company, Daniel Garcia. So Daniel Garcia comes out, does the stupid old, must stand on the ramp. And then just, if you're going to do the dance all the way down the ramp. Don't just be like, and then I'm done. Like, what? Like, tease it for what? So, we talked about last week, him versus Adam Copeland. They said that Adam Copeland's going to be on the shelf for a while as he is unable to compete after Christian Cage's attack last week. So I'm like, oh, he better not show up at the pay-per-view then if he's going to be out for a while. Ronnie informs Garcia that he will be getting a TNT title shot against Cage at Revolution. Crowd chants, you deserve it. Garcia thanked the crowd for always being behind him and said a few months ago, I was kind of at the lowest that I have ever been in my career. I was on a losing streak. I didn't end well in the Continental Classic, and I just didn't feel good about myself and my career. But after winning his final match, things kind of changed for him. That every time he got down on himself, the fans would be there to help pick him up. He thanks them for restoring his confidence. Garcia said that he was about to make Copeland tap out last week and promised that wasn't the last time they'll see the two of them together. Garcia then says, I have a message for Christian Cage. And then, well, out came Christian Cage and the patriarchy. Anyone else so disappointed that Nick Wayne is no more than a bump guy, a follow guy, the guy that just gets his ass beat for Christian every week? They could do so much more with Nick Wayne. Anyways, Cage said that Adam Copeland will never have another shot at the TNT Championship, and the only reason Garcia was in harm's way last week was because of Copeland. Cage said that he doesn't believe that he should wrestle Garcia at Revolution, as Garcia, well, isn't ready. Cage said that Garcia's constant distractions, like dancing and catering to the fans, is what will keep him from being great. Cage says that he knows about Garcia's dark childhood and brings up Jackie Garcia from Buffalo, who was married to David Garcia, Daniel's father. And then he goes, who is dead? And the guy goes, ah! Really? He said, who is dead? And they cheered for a second and go, oh, we're not supposed to cheer that. Now here's my other question. Who else has a dead dad in AEW? Because that's Christian's next opponent. Just saying. Cage said that it's been a fairy tale. It'll be a fairy tale ending for Garcia to win the TNT Championship to tribute his father. But they both know his father was a piece of crap, a loser, alcoholic, and unlike his father, Cage doesn't want to hurt Garcia. He wants to help him realize his full potential. Garcia said, if you're going to mention my mother or my father again, you're going to get it. Is that about right now? You come down to this ring and I'll show you what you're in store for. So down goes Nick Wayne. Immediately gets taken out. Like, that's all he is. He's the bump guy. I get it. He's still young. He's got a lot of time to grow in AEW. But how are we supposed to care about him when he's just the bump guy? Always getting his ass beat by everybody for Christian. Killswitch was up next, who came to the ring, but was leveled from behind with a steel chair from Matt Menard, Daddy Magic. Menard and Garcia then stood tall in the ring, basically, I don't know why I said that twice, but basically leading me to think that sometime in the next week, we're getting Menard and Garcia versus Wayne and Killswitch. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that is what's going to happen. We're going to get that tag match before the pay-per-view. Moving forward, Renee Paquette was backstage with Hangman, Rob Van Dam, and Hook, and asked about the main event tonight. Paige said tonight is full of opportunities. Hook can get revenge on Brian Cage, and RVD can get revenge on Swerve, who beat him a couple weeks ago. Said we wouldn't have been in this situation. They're into it, but they're in it now. It was a little weird. I don't even know if I wrote that right, because that does sound weird. RVD said that he wasn't happy and asked if Prince Nana was even there during that match, as Paige yelled at both of them and stormed out. I don't know what this was. This is supposed to be a motivational thing, and then why did he ask about Prince Nana? Why did already ask about Prince Nana? What? Then we had Tony Storm. She took on local competitor Cindy Winnell. Winnell? I don't know. So now they are saying Tony Storm, hailing from Stage 7 at Warner Brothers Studios. That's a new thing. I haven't noticed that before, so that's new. And so the bell rings. Winnell gets a few strikes in, but Storm meets her with a Thez press and punches and bunches. Storm connected on a corner splash and a running bulldog. She gets sweet chic music in the Storm Zero. Storm then applies an ankle lock and then says, screw it, I'm going for something different. And she puts on the Venus de Milo, and immediately she wins the match. Just immediately wins the match. So the total squash for the champion. Exactly what I expected. Not bad at all. So as Storm was helped out of the ring by Luther, Purrazzo's music would hit. She's coming down for her match that they told us earlier is against Madison Rayne. So the two have a little stare down at the end of the ramp. And Taz, where was I? Yeah, they have a little stare down at the end of the ramp like Deanna's trying to steal her thunder, steal her spotlight. And then there was like a weird shot here before Madison Rain's entrance. And Taz covered this up by saying Storm was visibly upset. So, yeah. So we had Deanna Purrazzo versus Madison Rain. Okay match. Not bad. Some early mat wrestling. They told us that, again, Deanna sees Madison as like a mentor. They go all the way back to their early Ring of Honor days. And Purrazzo did a misdirection leg sweep, sending Rain to the floor, where she met her with a baseball slide that took us to commercial break. Rain took control during the break, but a double clothesline led to a reset. Purrazzo fired up with a series of offense on the way back from the break, hitting a side Russian leg sweep until a slow forearm exchange led to Purrazzo trying a flatliner. But Rain rotated and landed right on her head violently, like she landed hard on her head. Ref then checked on her. Doctor was right there. Looked like the doctor's about to jump up. And then Paul Turner was like, she's good, she's good, she's good. Purrazzo quickly then jumped on, put on Toni Storm's ankle lock, break a leg, and Madison Rain taps out. Then Toni hits the ring with a shoe, but ate a pump kick from Purrazzo instead. Luther ran distraction long enough for Storm to attack from behind and clamp on the break a leg. Storm then let the hold go and applied a crazy amount of lipstick before staring down Purrazzo. Black and white and the color were used in the same shot here at one point. You know, it was good. It was, I don't know if I'd say good. It wasn't bad. I'm just not a fan of Toni Storm stuff. I think they're both great wrestlers. I think if they leave it up to just having a match and they don't need to see too much of the Toni Storm gimmick during the match, it could be a phenomenal match. It could be one of the best women's matches we've ever seen in AEW. Just as a straight up match. But because of what Toni Storm is right now, it's going to be too much of the Toni Storm gimmick. And it's going to really take away from what I think could be a really good match. So, unfortunate. So we then hear from Sting and Darby. Darby said, material objects we chase, we think define us, but they don't. They don't mean a thing. Alan shows some pictures of Sting's sons with their dad at the same age the Young Bucks children are right now. Alan said that the only thing that matters in the end is family. Sting then walked into the shot with a good pop from the crowd. He said in all his years in wrestling, no one has ever messed with his family till the Young Bucks. Sting said that a lot has been going on over the last week for his family, including losing his father. He said, last week my father passed away. He said, this makes me think of my own mortality. Sting used to think that he was invincible. Time catches up with everybody. Catching up with himself for sure. Sting realizes he's not invincible, but realizes that everything he has left in him, well, he's bringing to Revolution. The Bucks are going to have a fight on their hands. The fight of their lives. It was a good 4 or 5 minutes, but it worked. And it was a great Sting promo. Great Sting promo. I was a little disappointed last week when there was really minimal follow-up as far as like, oh, Sting's, no Sting, no reference of the Sting kids, but nope, they did it all tonight. So they retconned. Then Tony Schiavone's in the ring and he says, let me welcome Wardlow. So Wardlow makes his way out to the ring and probably cuts the best promo he's ever done. He walks out pissed off and tells Schiavone to get out of the ring before he knocks him on his old ass. Wardlow said 2 years ago, thousands and thousands of people were chanting his name. And I'm like, oh God, you think of The Rock. He literally said thousands and thousands of people were chanting my name, like in ways you haven't heard in decades. And I'm like, that ain't true. That ain't true. We heard people singing Nakamura's song, singing Sammy's song, singing Seth's song in those last 2 years. About 3-4 years. Just saying. He said, and apparently the rocket that was strapped on my back was no longer going up. It was turned upside down. And I've been screwed time after time again. Wardlow said that you think that the one homegrown megastar would have been champion a long time ago, but he's never even received a world title shot. Something people in the back should be thrown in jail for. Wardlow then says, I took the best in the world, the real world champion, and beat him like he's never been beaten before, and he still can't keep in one piece. Basically saying he beat down CM Punk so hard that he's the reason CM Punk keeps getting hurt because his body's now frail. Wardlow also brought up how he squashed MJF like no one else has before as well. Finally, Wardlow mentioned choking Samoa Joe out and how suits and shiny ties look better on him than Joe. Wardlow said that he's the uncrowned king of AEW and it's time to start eating like one. And he's everything a world champion is supposed to be. If anyone wants to get in his way, this is no longer wrestling. This is war. Good promo. Probably the best promo we've ever seen Wardlow cut. I will say that for sure. But because of the way he's been booked in the past, I still don't see him yet as a viable contender. Because A, he's always just been a lackey. And B, since his return, what has he been doing? 2-minute squashes, 2-minute squashes, 2-minute squashes. I don't see him in there with competitors that are at a world title level. I don't see him in there beating world title level competitors, wrestlers, whatever you want to call them. So that's my one gripe with this. Oh, I'm the best there is. There's no one at the level of me. Well, then why aren't you beating guys at that level? Why are you beating no-name local talent? You're squashing them, and then, yeah, like, get some real competition, and then we'll talk Wardlow. But overall, great promo from Wardlow. Oh, we then hear some post-match comments from the Bang Bang Scissor Gang following their 12-man tag last week on Rampage. Daddy Ass apologizes, running into Switchblade Jay White during the match, as White said it's fine, and he suggests Austin and Daddy Ass are the Collision Cowboys this Saturday. Anthony Bowen says that it doesn't matter the combo, everyone loves the Acclaimed. Bang Bang. So, kill. I still think Jay White's going to fuck over the Acclaimed. Renee's backstage with the Don Callis family. And right before this, they told us that Will Ospreay will be on the show next week. She asked Callis if he's given any more thought on how the match between Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita will affect the family after Revolution. He said it's win-win. It doesn't matter who wins, who loses, the family still wins. Excuse me. Callis says that he is on his way to the UK to pick up Ospreay himself to bring him to Revolution. Callis said, we haven't forgot about Sammy Guevara either. A fly in the ornament and a little cuck who Meat Madness Powerhouse Hobbs and himself will deal with on Rampage. And so they call Powerhouse Hobbs Meat Madness. And then they say Wardlow's going to be in a Meat Madness match at the pay-per-view. And I'm like, what? He's fighting Hobbs? Huh? What is that? I don't even know. I don't even know. Moving forward. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Okay, so moving forward. We then had our main event. The Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Brian Cage taking on the team of Hangman Page, Hook, and Rob Van Dam. Quite the, I guess you would say, party match, where it's just everyone doing everything. Hook wanted to start things off against Joe, and so Joe slammed him multiple times, bringing a smile to Joe's face as a result. Hook switched to body shots and a flying cross clothesline that took Joe down, as Joe turned the tables into the corner with some body strikes of his own before tagging in Cage. Hook escaped and made a tag to RVD, who had a quick sequence with Brian Cage, who showed off his strength, leading to a double team with Strickland. After a series of switches, Page made the blind tag and came face-to-face with Strickland after RVD sidestepped a flatliner attempt. Before things got physical, Hook and Cage pulled their teammates back for some reason, and Cage and Page remained during the commercial break. Back from the break, it was Hook who held up against Cage in a delayed vertical suplex for a 2. Cage then wanted a Death Valley Driver, but Hook countered it just enough to get out into a DDT, leading to an RVD hot tag. And then Paige got one as well. RVD then ran wild, hitting Rolling Thunder on Strickland and a 5-star frog splash on Cage for a 2. Joe argued with referee Aubrey Edwards, and Strickland blindsided Paige on the apron with a running boot. There was more fast tags in by Joe's team, and we went to another break. RVD was isolated on the other side of the ring, and Joe missed a charge, and RVD hit a spin kick, and a double down was ensued. Paige and Cage then made tags, and they went at each other as Paige sprinted right at Strickland first, though, to get his revenge before dropping Cage with a Hurricane Rana. Strickland then sidestepped a slingshot dive, but Paige hit a pump kick to the corner. A Strickland rolling flatliner ensued as well. Back inside the ring, Paige dropped Cage with the Death Valley driver, but Joe was the one to clobber him with a running boot. The match then broke down with everybody just hitting big spots. Paige then chose between a buckshot on Cage or a moonsault on Strickland, and he chose Strickland for the moonsault as Cage cut him off before the move could happen. Hook was then there, and when we got a Tower of Doom spot, Hook then sank in the red rum on Cage, who made the blind tag to Joe. Hook then ate a pop-up powerbomb by Cage, and a brutal house call from Strickland as Paige flew in with a buckshot on Cage. Joe, Strickland, and Paige were then left in the ring alone as the Revolution graphics showed at the bottom of the screen. These 3 men will fight at the pay-per-view, they told us. Strickland and Joe then took out Paige, who rolled to the floor, and Joe hit a tope. Strickland went for a pump kick off the apron, but missed, and Paige took out Joe. No, missed Paige and took out Joe. Paige then powerbombed Strickland off the apron through the announce table. Joe ducked a buckshot, and then we hear Excalibur go, "Our monitors are out. We can't see what's going on," or, we don't have our eyes on the match. And I'm like, bruh, this match is literally in front of you. You don't need the monitor. Look up. He did this last week, too, where it's like they're fighting right in front of him. Not even on the other side of the ring, and it's just like, look up, buddy. RVD took out Cage with a slingshot splash and made a tag. Joe was waiting for this, but didn't see Hook waiting and ate an exploder. RVD then went for a 5-star, but Cage shoved him off and wiped out Hook with a discus lariat. In the meantime, Joe then sank on the coquina clutch as RVD faded and passed out for the heels to get the victory. After the match, Joe held up the AEW World title. Strickland looked on, he and Prince Nana, and Paige kept telling the cameraman not to shoot him as he was holding his ankle. Oh, I don't know what's going on with the Hangman, but he might be hurt. Cameraman kept trying to look at him. He was holding his ankle pretty hard, and he was like, no, get the camera off me. Don't get the camera off. I'm like, oh, crap. Hangman hurt? Hope not. But that led me to think there's a chance Hangman could have been injured in this match. The way he was holding his ankle and trying to tell the cameraman, no, keep the camera off me, please. Keep the camera off me. Like that he was in pain or something and didn't want them to see him in pain. So we'll follow up on this and see what we can find out, but didn't look good there at the end. I'll just say that. Didn't look good. But as far as things being announced for the next week or so, let me get the Twitch poll going really fast, and then I'll tell you about what's up for Collision Rampage and Dynamite. What do you think of tonight's Dynamite? I liked it. Was all right. I didn't like it. All right, the poll is live on Twitch. As far as the Rampage does go this week, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson will be in action. Roderick Strong will battle Jake Hager. Private Party and Matt Sydal will take on Top Flight and Action Andretti. Will also take on Pentail, Zero Miedo, Commander, and Brian Keith. So it's a three-way trios match. Okay. Ryan May will be going one-on-one with Anna Jay, and we'll hear from Sammy Guevara. As far as Collision does go, Brian Danielson will take on Jun Akiyama. Switchblade Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Daddy Ass will be in trios action. And next week, Will Ospreay will appear on Dynamite. Next week's Dynamite is the go-home show for the pay-per-view. With that, you guys know what I thought of the show. Better show than normal, I will say. Better AEW show than normal. But you know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to see what you guys thought as we go and refresh all of our polls. As far as the Threads poll does go, 46% liked the show, 31% thought it was just all right, and 23% did not like it. Looking at the Twitter X poll, 37% liked the show, 34% thought it was just all right, and 27% didn't like it. Damn. Lower numbers than I expected for the like it. I thought more people were going to like this show. Let's see. YouTube community poll, better, a little bit. 48% liked the show, 30% thought it was just all right, and 23% didn't like it. Again, bigger numbers for all right and didn't like it than I expected. In the comments here say, 7 out of 10. And then stupid people going, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. Well, then why the fuck comment? And then the YouTube live poll. This is more what I expected. 63% liked the show. 19% thought it was just all right. And 19% didn't like it. Looking over at the YouTube community poll, we got 2 votes. And they both said it was all right. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We'll be back live on Friday. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.